beneath the stars so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horses kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. You'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight.
Howdy there, I'm Matt McKinley and we're burning daylight.
In the saddle till the job's done right.
Welcome to Burning Daylight, the only podcast for the working cowboy. Well, howdy there, daylight burners. Happy Friday. Cheers to the weekend. This is the Friggin Farm and Ranch Report for Friday, March 27th. Markets wrapped up the week in full headline mode. To be fully upfront and honest with you, that is a line written by AI. But I gotta say, it's not bad. I think it's pretty accurate. As we go into this, you'll understand why. Cattle held their ground, and then hogs and grains lost a little bit of air out of their balloon. And the big outside markets are trading on war talk and politics more than they are on the USDA spreadsheet. And so let's walk through what my indicators are saying before we head off into the weekend. And my indicators are this new engine that I've built. And so how good is it? I don't know yet. It looks cool. It's showing me a lot of information, and a lot of it seems relevant. So let's put it to test. Before we go in though, if you enjoy what I'm doing here and having somebody that actually digs into the numbers and tries to understand it and explain what's going on, rather than just reading a bunch of regurgitated headlines, please make sure you're subscribed, and share the show around. Show your neighbor, text it to your cousin that only calls when he needs to borrow your trailer. I don't care. Send it to your grandma. She might find me attractive. Your mother already does. Anyhow, let's get into the show now. Nope. There we go. All right. On the hoof side, June live cattle closed higher on the day and up solid on the week. April feeder cattle finished strong as well. Helped along by softer corn and a tight beef supply. Even with the beef plant caught in a labor mess, the futures didn't blink at all. So my indicator is saying when the packer is not taking a victory lap and cash isn't completely rolling over, then the leverage is drifting back towards the rancher side of things. Feeders went green while the corn dipped. So it tells me that the replacement demand isn't dead yet. Folks are still willing to put calves on feed if the numbers pencil out. Hogs are a different story. May lean hogs ended the day under pressure and down on the week. Every little bit of bounce gets sold. When the hogs drag, even with the cheaper grain, that's my consumer and export demand. That's my consumer and export demand are suspect indicator. So on the week, the cattle are acting like the adults in the room, and hogs are trading like they just opened their credit card bill. They're kind of like a whipped dog. On the grain side of things, corn spent the week chopping with a soft bias. Even when the exports or ethanol chatter looked okay, the board just kind of shrugged. So it tells me the world feels comfortable on the supply and a little bit nervous on the demand. Soybeans tried to rally on the meal and the biofuel, but they really couldn't. They couldn't keep the pedal down. Funds are still in sell the rally, don't buy the dip mode. Wheat does what it always does. It pops on the geopolitics and then fades on reality. So bottom line on the grain, it's cheap enough to hurt your feelings, but not cheap enough to scare the world into a full-blown buying panic. On the macros and the metals side, I had Dan Given, actually. I sent him a copy of my little news app research engine that I'm building, and he suggested that I put oil and gold tickers on the on the site. So I thought, well, that's a good thing to mention in a market report, because the world kind of runs on energy and gold, and then food, obviously. So water hasn't really become a commodity yet. So yet, I mean, depends on how you shake it out. I'm spiraling here, folks. Now, so on the big dashboard, crude oil closed the week strong, and that's almost exclusively a war premium. And when crude rallies while the stocks take a shit, my indicator says that the market is trading on missiles and not on the actual refineries. Gold and silver spent the week kind of acting like a pressure relief valve. So every ugly headline that came out of the Middle East or DC, the metals got a bid. When the stocks took a dip, gold and silver, they got another bid. So that's the big money saying that we don't quite trust everything's under control. On the stock side, the Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ all finished the week down. Not a ton, but the stock market's taken a real beating the last month. The big indexes are leaning into the correction territory. And the dip buyers are not really beating down the gates, you know. Tech's heavy and metals are strong and the crude's hot. My board says risk off. Don't fully believe what the Fed's saying. Wall Street's not really saying buy the dip a whole lot, but they are saying we don't like this a whole lot. They're saying that pretty loud. So on the war side of things, I'm gonna try to make this kind of like the old days in World War II when they had the newsreels at the movie theaters, and they did like the war reels. So this is going to be the Burn Daylight war reel. The war room. All the war room's already taken as a podcast and whatever. But this can be the war reel. We'll see if I can condense it down enough to where I can actually put it out on reels as a decent war reel. All right, let's talk about this war. Middle America does the fighting and the bleeding for the most part. The kids getting on the planes, they don't come from Wall Street. They come from farm towns and ranch schools and guard armories out on the interstate somewhere. But if we're in a shooting war with Iran, I want you to know what's actually going on. Troop movements, the costs, the casualties, the damage on both sides of the fence. And so, yeah, think about this as the old movie theater newsreels. But if they showed the actual whole picture and not just the patriotic soundtrack, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think in war, well, I'll get to it. So since late January, the U.S. has done the biggest Middle East troop buildup since the 2003 Iraq invasion. That was when I was a junior in high school. Summer before my senior year of high school. We've got multiple carrier strike groups in the region, Air Force bomber squadrons, fighter wings, forward based from the Gulf and in the Eastern Mediterranean, Army and Marine units, air defense batteries, and logistic tails stretch from Kuwait to Qatar and through Bahrain, UAE and out into the Red Sea. The Pentagon is weighing sending up to 10,000 more troops and a whole. So that's like another. We're getting ready to go to watch the A's play on Nick Kurt's bobblehead night. So Sutter Health Park holds about 15,000 people. Any given day, there's usually about 10,000. That is what they run at. So a whole stadium worth of people at a A's game is now, but those are all troops and they're all headed over. That's not headed over yet as I'm recording this. I haven't heard. I've not checked since earlier today, but it's 6:16 p.m. on Friday, and I haven't heard of any deployment of that yet, but that is what they're mulling. They are sending the 82nd Airborne. They've got 2 Marine Expeditionary units. But all those guys, not all of them, but a lot of them come from little small towns like same place where me and you are from. And they're all moving into missile and drone range. And as I reported yesterday, reported on reporting, I shouldn't say reporting because like I said, I'm just regurgitating what I have read elsewhere. But as I mentioned yesterday, they did a lot of damage to our military bases. They killed not a ton of people, but way more than I'm willing to sacrifice already. So and injured in the hundreds, as far as I know, from what I've heard. It's hard to tell. So this is why I want to do this to try to put out what I know, so people know what the hell's going on before they just blindly throw their support behind our dear leader, as he's more and more acting like. So on February 28th, the U.S. and Israel launched a massive opening wave of strikes on Iran. Hundreds of targets in the first half day under what Washington is calling Operation Epic Fury. Since then, Central Command said we've hit thousands of targets across Iran, missile bases, air defenses, command centers, nuclear-related facilities, and energy infrastructure. Israel has piled on with its own strikes around Tehran, other major cities, and into Lebanon and Gaza. But Iran isn't just taking the punches. It's giving them back. It's fired its own missiles and drones at U.S. bases all across the Gulf, at Israeli cities and refineries, and at shipping lanes around the Strait of Hormuz. They've hit or tried to hit ports, airports, oil facilities, and commercial ships. And so, in simple terms, this is a live two-way shooting war spread across half of the map. So that there's a better graphic there for you. Source is CENTCOM. Friend, the Department of War, March 27th. That is today. Casualties and damage. Now, so this is the part where the TV graphics usually just kind of blah, blah, blah. They just on to the next one is the casualties, and nobody has any perfect numbers in the fog of war, but it doesn't look all that great. Iranian and independent groups estimate thousands of Iranians killed so far, with a big chunk of that being civilians, and many thousands more wounded. One of the worst strikes hit a girls' elementary school in Manab, and reports say well over 170 were killed there, mostly schoolgirls, which is just terrible. I have not done a whole lot of diving into that, but it sounds like it was one of our Tomahawk missiles that did it, which is clearly not ideal, not what we want to do. But this is all part of what happens in a war, and whether it was targeted or not, it happened, and a bunch of schoolgirls are dead, and that's obviously not good. I'll On the U.S. side, Central Command has publicly acknowledged American service members killed, and 13 of them, as I've last research I've done, and dozens more wounded. Israeli casualty totals put their dead and wounded in the hundreds from missiles and drone attacks. But beyond the dead and wounded, millions of Iranians have been displaced from their homes, and dozens of hospitals and clinics have taken damage inside Iran. Strikes have hammered missile sites, nuclear facilities, and energy infrastructure. In response, Iran and partners have fired on Israeli refineries, ports, airports, and U.S. bases, choking off one of the main arteries for global oil. And that's why crude is spiking and freight and input costs are here at home reacting. On the costs and the outlook side, defense analysts have already have this in the tens of billions of dollars when you add up the munitions, the deployments, the hazard pay, the fuel, and the wear and tear. And then the every day of high tempo operations burns through missiles and bombs that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions for each one. Then you stack on the lifetime medical care for wounded vets, replacing destroyed equipment, and interest on the debt. The people that are writing the checks are the same folks that are sending their kids, and that's rural taxpayers. It's not the think tank class. Their kids aren't going to war. And if they do, they end up like Pete Buttigieg, where they get to say they were in combat, but they were an intelligence officer that went off base one time and got to carry a rifle and look cool. But it's it's not the people that are just really cheerleading this. That's not their kids that are going off to war. It's no, it's like my nephew and one of my wife's former students. That those will be the ones that are thrown in there, and it's dumb. It's dumb. So, from where I sit, what's my view on war. I feel like it should be the absolute last resort. But once you commit us to the fight, the mission has to be clear. The objectives have to be achievable. Like the global war on terror. We're gonna defeat terrorism. What the hell does that even mean? So what's the goal? Are we doing regime change? Because you said you killed the guy, but the regime's still in place. Are we doing regime change? Can we actually do regime change? Because if we can't, we need to get out. We need to pull out now before we're sucked in too deep. We just saw this. We're still in Iraq 23 years later. We haven't learned a single thing from it. But if we know what we're doing and we can do it, then we need to go do it and do it quickly. Otherwise, we need to pull out. Middle America is the gear that turns this war. It's the kids, the tax money, the oil, and the grain that's feeding the world. And we deserve straight talk on this stuff and not a bunch of bullshit propaganda slogans. And if I agree with the objectives and the outcome of it, I will I will tell you that. But as of right now, we're invading a bigger country with a better military, on the verge of invading. We're bombing the hell out of a country that's 4 times the size of the country that we're still in, that we didn't do a very good job of. But this one's got mountains and stuff, and way more people. 4 times geographically. I don't know what the population size is, but significantly bigger. So it's Yeah, I feel like we need the actual figures and stats and ideally what the goal is. So the administration has been pretty lax and all over the place as far as what that is. So we shall see. But as of right now, I'm very, very much not happy with the administration and with the way this thing is heading. I think it has a chance of really getting out of hand. So, but I'm going to keep you updated because our troops deserve to know that somebody out there is paying attention to what they're doing. I am the product of the American soldier. I was never one myself, but I respect the hell out of them. And they deserve to know that somebody back home is paying attention to what's going on. So that's why I'm going to do it, and I will continue to do that as I do this show. So let's quit with all the spreadsheets and the doom and gloom, and we'll get on to baseball because I love baseball. I'm watching the A's as we're speaking. They're down 2-1. Bottom of the 7th, 1 out, 1 on. Kevin Gausman's been throwing a real gem. But Luis Severino has had a pretty good game as well. Anyways, every fan base is convinced this year that the bullpen magically learns how to throw strikes, or that their rookie center fielder is the next Mike Trout. But like the good version of Mike Trout, not the one there that he's just hurt. Not that he's not good, he's just hurt. He had a dinger opening day for him, so good on Mike Trout. It's good for baseball when that guy's playing good. Anyway, out here in farm and ranch country, baseball's still the soundtrack to the summer. Summer works, the games on the radio and the tractor or the pickup, and it's just as much part of spring and summer as the mud on your boots or the dust in your throat. So happy opening day, opening week of baseball. Happy baseball, everybody. As you can tell, pretty excited about it. On this day in history, Congress authorized the creation of the United States Navy, the outfit that now has the carrier groups sitting off Iran's coastline. In 1836, about 350 captured Texan fighters, including James Fannin, were executed at Goliad on orders from General Santa Anna, and in a brutal reminder of what happens when leaders choose war and then mismanage it. In 1964, a 9.2, what is the scale for earthquakes? Gigahertz. It's a 9.2 gigachad. Good Friday earthquake slammed Alaska, killed 125 people. That's like half of the state. Triggered tsunamis and was the most powerful earthquake ever recorded in North America. And in 1998, on this day, the FDA approved the drug Viagra, kicking off $1 billion industry and more awkward ranch store conversations than anyone ever asked for. Ever since Doc Says Take It Easy has covered a lot of ground. All right. That's all I got for the week. But before we get out of here, if you want this report on your phone first thing in the morning, just head over to Burn and Daylight on all your podcast app. I'm gonna share my little podcast or my research dashboard when if you're on Substack or Patreon, you can already give it a look. But I'd highly recommend you do. It's it helped me out, and you get this neat little tool that it's very conveniently formatted to have everything in one nice spot. Anyway, so go check out the Substack. Don't sign up for Patreon. I'm like I said, I'm gonna phase that out. But Substack, so it's burnin-daylight.substack.com. That's gonna help keep the lights on and the mics hot. So the calves are steadying the whole kind of thing. The hogs are waving the demand warning flag. Grains are cheap and unloved, and the big outside markets are trading on war, risk, and politics more than the weather and the yield. So we'll keep a lookout for what's coming on in the next week. But in the meantime, y'all be safe out there. Have a great weekend, and move your ass. We're burning daylight.
Your eyes up in the morning, beneath the stars so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horses kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. We'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Burning daylight. Well, life is just a gather, and you won't catch 'em all. But when you ride through the gate, make sure you sit up tall. I can see the horizon, it's looking pretty bright. Well, get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right.